Today I will be talking about the word brand and what it is. Brand is described as a combination of unique qualities that help distinguish the product of one firm from the products of different firms, different competitors. What makes up a brand is the the name, term, symbol, and design that a company specifically chooses to identify their products and help tell the difference between their product and the product of a different company. Having a brand is really important to consumers because it does take a lot of effect in the behavior that consumers have. For example, now that the brand Nike has been out for a really long time, and a lot of consumers have experienced the the satisfaction that their products bring to us, which is either the comfort in their shoes or the good looks. They meet consumer needs, and this brings them brand recognition, which leads to brand preference. It could be that some people would rather buy Nike shoes rather than Puma shoes only because of personal choice. They just like that brand better. They like how it feels or how comfortable the shoe is, how it looks. And that is important to companies because once a consumer is comfortable with the products of a certain brand, they're going to look to buy more products from that brand because they know that with that brand, their needs get met with the products that they offer. And this is great for companies because it helps increase their sales and their profit, their brand recognition, their brand preference from consumers. This then leads to brand loyalty from consumers to a certain brand because it helps increase the amount of times that they buy from that brand, which is caused by the fact that they feel comfortable buying products from that brand. And having brand loyalty from consumers can then lead to brand equity, and brand equity is really important for a company. What brand equity is, it is a certain value that is added onto a brand, a well recognized brand or product. And I personally feel like brand equity is placed on there by consumers because it depends on the knowledge and the esteem that consumers place in a certain product or brand. Brand equity is not something that is built short term. It is something that has to develop over the long term, and it does really depend on how much consumers preference to buy a certain brand rather than a different one. So it is important for companies to have a recognized brand and a preference brand from consumers because it is a good way to help increase and generate sales. Having brand equity then leads to brand identification, which is, for example, let's say me, whenever I see the little check mark from Nike, I whenever I see that little check mark on a product, I automatically connect it to the brand Nike. Why? Because that little symbol is connected to that brand, and after so long looking at that symbol on a product, I automatically know it's Nike. That's what product identification is. It is a brand name or a brand symbol that helps consumers identify products to a certain brand with more ease. And once a company has this product identification, it is really good for them because it helps consumers know that that product belongs to that brand with more ease. And if they like that brand, well, they're gonna purchase that product. We then move on to the new product development system. And so what goes on here is how a product is being developed. The first step talks about creating ideas, jotting down ideas, brainstorming of what can create a good product, what will generate profit, what one thinks would be a good idea to for a product to be put out in the market. We then look at screening, we look at our ideas, revise them, decide what we think would be a good idea, what is a bad idea. We give rid of the bad ones. We look at the good ones. We expand on the good ideas that we jotted down. And we do the business analysis, which is if a product will be economically feasible, will I meaning if a company will generate more profit from the product that they are building rather than less. If it's going to cost more to make a profit that will if it's going to cost more to make a product that will generate less profit, then maybe that product is not worth it. It is better rather to make a product that costs less to make and generates more profit for a company, because that is how a company gains profit, not the other way around. So it is important that when generating a product, a company looks at these factors, because it is what is going to help them generate the profit after the product is being put out in the market. Moving on from the business analysis, we look to the development of a product. The development of a product looks more into how the product will be built and how it will meet the needs of consumers. Then we go into the testing the market, which is defined more as how likely is a consumer to buy this product, how comparing it to different products, would a person would much rather buy that product rather than this one, and why. And this is important because once the product is put out for like the market testing, and a lot of people don't look to buy that product, or they don't have a need that has to be filled for with that product, then that product is not going to really generate sales. But if a product is actually accepted by consumers, then it would be ready to be commercialized, which is when the product is actually put out in the market for consumers to buy. And this is actually really good because it is when the advertising starts happening and when the product starts getting that recognition to the brand and association to the brand, which then leads to the preference of the brand if the product is successful enough. And this is good for a company because it does help increase the sales of a company. And that would be all for this video, and I really hope you enjoyed.